All right, everyone, welcome back. Second AMA of the day today. And yeah, really excited for this one. We have Atlas and we have Elite here with us. We will get to know Elite, SKT, and his team really shortly. In the meantime, as always, please, if you have any questions during the AMA, you can add your question in the main chat and tag me, and we'll make sure to bring these questions up if they are relevant to the current topic that we are having with Elite SKT. If not, we'll bring up these questions in the Q&A section. All right, so with that being said, Elite, welcome to the Ninja Lounge. It's great to have you here, man. Finally, it's been a long time, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's great to be back here. Yeah, it was fun doing the open mic last time, but I'm happy that we have more time to really flesh out the project because there was- there's a lot more to be said than can be covered in the 5-10 minutes that we were given on the open mic.
Awesome, awesome, yeah, awesome. So let's get to know you though in first place. So who are you? What is your experience when it comes to the crypto space and kind of like outside of the crypto space as well? What has been your field of expertise, your experience?
All right. Well, yeah. So I've been in crypto since 2016. I started with cryptocurrency mining, actually. It was a friend of mine. It was just a fluke where I was planning to buy myself a gaming computer, but then I knew I wouldn't really use it. And at the same time, a friend of mine mentioned that you could get these graphics cards and mine with them. So I got into the crypto mining, and then before you know it, I was watching different cryptocurrencies and how their prices moved, and I got into trading. And lucky me, the timing was perfect because we were just about to go into the 2017 bull run. So, I thought I was king of the world, and I thought I was really good at trading, but obviously it was just numbers going up all across the board. And I took some profits at the top, but I gave a lot back to the market on the way down. And yeah, and I've just been in and out of crypto since then, just mostly as an investor. I got out of the whole mining thing. It's with the GPU mining, it's a lot more work than if you just directly invest in the coins, I find. And outside of crypto, I've worked construction jobs. I actually during the 2017 bull run, I actually did work an office job for Canadian Bitcoins, which is a Bitcoin brokerage. They don't hold the coins for you, but you can buy and sell to them, kind of deal. And that was a really eye-opening experience. My old boss, James Grant, there, he's been mining Bitcoin since the early days. He wasn't even mining at that point, but at one point, he told me he was getting 14 Bitcoin a day on his computer's CPU. That's how early he was mining Bitcoin.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, well, but
Does
he
he
also
still
made
have
the
the
mistake
his
of
Bitcoin?
he made the mistake of selling like 100,000 Bitcoins in the early days for like some small amount of money, like $5,000 or something.
Uh,
But he does well for himself. I mean, he's got a business, and he buys and sells hundreds of thousands of dollars in crypto in single transactions. So clearly he's got money. He could have done a lot better just sitting on those 100,000 bitcoins, but hey, none of us really knew where it was going. When I was mining, I was getting 1.5 Ethereum a day, and I sold those like 50 Ethereum for like, I think it was like 500 or 600, $700 or something like that. So yeah, I mean, we all live and learn, and but I've got lots of experience in the space, and I mean, lots of people know me from the space, including some of the big guys like the Bitcoin maxis like Tone Vays. I met him out in Dubai 2 Octobers ago, and Da Vinci Jeremy and Carl the Moon. We me and some of my associates that we work with at Blockchain Academics. It's a Discord group education platform. We actually kind of called out Carl the Moon for some scammy practices because he got into he was shilling this. It was supposed to be a game, and like they were selling NFT lands, but the price action on them was really weird, and they weren't showing any game. It was definitely one of those situations where there was no real product. They were just trying to get as much money for the token and the NFTs, and probably are never going to deliver. But I haven't followed it too closely anyway. But yeah, I just crypto. I've made crypto my life. Definitely over the past 3 years, and I came across Equinox early in January of last year, and because of my experience with Rex and other and Hex and other certificate of deposit tokens, I just really love this project. I also like low low cap coins, and it was on the lower side. I always feel like there's a much bigger upside for the low caps. And yeah, and just got to know the team more and more, and was so active in the group, and really showing my connections and bringing in new people to the community, that I got offered the job as marketing lead for their next launch here at Atlas. And that pretty much leads up to where we are today.
Awesome, man. Awesome, fantastic. Yeah, and quite experience over there. You are well connected, as you mentioned. You mentioned quite a few of names, and you are going to events, which when you're involved into crypto, and if you want to grow, that's kind of like a must. That's something that you need to do on this space. Awesome. So Atlas token. What is Atlas? How
So,
the idea of Atlas came?
well, the idea was born from the devs wanting to add utility to their original token, Equinox. And the devs also learned a lot from their experience launching Equinox. It was their first token. They're very, very skilled with coding. But I feel that they haven't been as active in the degen space as someone like I am. So there were some oversights on protecting the price action. So they decided to not only add this utility to their original Equinox token, but to improve on the distribution model and ensure an uptrending chart. And that's what we're doing with Atlas, and that's why Atlas is going to break records and see a serious uptrending chart, just because of the distribution model and the way it's designed to put more tokens in the hands of long-term stakers, and put more interest in the hands of long-term stakers above all else, and create buy pressure through the auction distribution. So when people are buying their tokens through the auction, they actually have to stake for a minimum of 90 days, but 15% of those funds turns into buy pressure on the chart, and it's buy and burn pressure. So it's never going to be sell pressure. And on top of that, first of its kind liquidity depth management has been created by our lead dev Edwin for this project, which ensures that the liquidity stays thinner when the price is lower, and as it goes up, the liquidity is added. So if there is a bit of a spout where we're going down, you're not adding liquidity on the way down to then need more buy pressure to get on the way up. And we also have a fail safe for if we're not hitting that new all-time high, the funds that are being held to add to liquidity will just be triggered into a buyback and burn.
And how does it work? Is it extra, like you guys already have, let's say, the one pool with the LP, and then you add and remove from another one? How does it work? What's the process over there?
So yeah, there's
More
going to be no
about
removing.
more about the kind of like concerns, I could say, of people that have, and the experience on this space, as we were discussing earlier, of project, the fear of removing LPs and running away.
Yes, no, of course, of course. The LP is actually going to be burned automatically. So there will be nothing to worry about there. The depth management is only on the adding side, right? So through the taxes and the funds that come from the auction, it will be set aside, ready to be plugged into the liquidity. But the funds, first off, will only have those two options. It'll either automatically be adding at each checkpoint on the way up, or we will have the option to manually trigger a buyback, but there's no other options for those funds. We won't be able to pull them out of the contract or anything like that. And as I said, whenever the liquidity is created, it will be burned.
Nice, nice. So, yeah, and that's a cool. How long is that something new that it's been added, it's been implemented like a new feature within the project, or is it something that the dev was have been working for a long time? Because it's something that I see quite often lately, like projects kind of like managing their liquidity, like up and down depending on how the chart goes, and what is the LP to market cap ratio that the contract will be looking for to stabilize?
So I'm not sure the exact specifics of that, but I do know that it's going to stay relatively close to where it starts, and we're going to be starting with 38 million Atlas tokens to about $380 worth of BNB. And as it goes up, the contract is also going to be minting tokens to put into the LP. So that ratio, we're going to stay very close to that same ratio between the funds and the number of tokens in the LP. So as the funds go up, so do the tokens. So it in a way, it also is really going to help not reach that that critical mass point where the there's almost nothing in the LP, and buys are just sending the price skyrocketing out of control. It's going to be very good at maintaining enough liquidity that the price is going to be somewhat stable, but it's still going to be thin enough that price appreciation is going to be more than achievable.
Got it, got it. And how much USD value are you guys planning to put in the liquidity? I didn't catch that number.
Yeah, so we're only starting with $380, but for the first 2 days of auctions, no one's going to be able to buy from the DEX except for the auction contract itself. So those first 2 days, also because of the dividend system, there's going to be should be very oversubscribed. If you're familiar with, excuse me, the dividends model that Avarice used, it actually in the early days, the first dividend payout, they use all of the dividends collected from the first auction. The second day's auction gets split over 2 days, the third day over 3 days, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one of the reasons the dividends are going to be paying out a lot bigger on those first couple days. And then ultimately, when the subscription gets up there, because after the oversubscription of day one and day two, I expect the auctions to slump down a little bit as people dollar cost average. But then as the chart is rising and rising and a bunch of new investors are coming in, then we should hopefully see the auction subscription start to go up as the tokens are becoming more valuable. So people are willing to pay more for them through the auctions. And we will just be getting more and more liquidity. I did get a little bit off track there, but the main point I was trying to make is during those first 2 days, thanks to the 15% buyback and burn and the 30% of those funds that's being added to the liquidity on the way up, the liquidity is going to be significantly thicker than that by the time we go public with the DEX on auction day 3. So we're starting out at this really small point so that we can have that beautiful uptrending chart, and that those first moves over those 2 days, we're never really going to get sold back down there, because that movement, it was done not by a single entity or anybody that is holding tokens liquid. It's bought up by the auctions.
Right on, right on. Cool, cool. Yeah, sounds again for everyone. I know that it might sound kind of like complex, But please make sure you have a look into the website and go through the white paper that they have over there. So at what phase you have not launched yet, and so at what phase are you right now? What are kind of like the dates that and the timelines that you have set?
So April 9th is the day that our auctions are going to go live, and you'll have 22 hours to participate without, there's a bit of a taper on the end. The last 2 hours, you can still participate, but you will be, there's a bit of a penalty. You're going to get less bid power because you bid so late. And this is to mitigate against people that want to just snipe the contract on the cheaper days and are not would probably be doing it to arbitrage with the short-term stakes. But like I said, the minimum is going to have to be 90 days for those stakes, and that's one of the reasons that we're pretty much guaranteed to see price appreciation for those first 90 days, because the majority of the supply, for 418 million Atlas tokens, is being sold through the auctions contract, and it's only the original 38 million that's in the LP that's going to be actual liquid. Although the liquidity depth management will be adding some other tokens as well as we go up in price, but they will be available to buy at higher and higher prices. It won't be adding any tokens at lower prices.
Nice, nice. And there is a question from Justin in the main chat. So if you are burning the LP, how are you removing it if LP is too thick? So it's through the burning that you mentioned, right?
Well, no, like I mentioned before, we don't really worry about the LP being too thick. Well, I mean, we're making sure not to add to the LP on the way down to make it too thick. So we're only adding on the way up. So we're not ever thinning the LP. That's not very bullish. That doesn't instill confidence in people if LP's coming out. So that's not something that we plan to implement.
Got
And
it.
as I said, if for some reason we're having trouble getting to a new all-time high, and the liquidity funds, the depth management funds are just building and building and building, then we can choose an amount to trigger a buyback and burn, and start reversing the chart.
Cool. And yeah, I think makes sense. So you will have a DAO, I can see. DAO system. I'm taking from the top, so we can go one by one based on the website, if that's okay with you. Or if not, you can you can take it over and do your kind of like presentation, and then we can get into more questions.
No,
Up to you, whatever
I
it's
think
better.
this conversation is this is probably the best way to go about it. It feels a lot more real that way, and you're a very great host, so you're really bringing us along there. So I'll let you know about the DAO. So if you're familiar with Hex, they have what's called an owner address. It's split up across a bunch of wallets, and it's just liquid supply that's being held. It's not being sold, and they could sell it at some point. You're trusting that they're not going to. But what it does help to do is create a good interest rate for the stakers, because of the way that certificate of deposit tokens work in terms of APY. The yearly APY on Hex, for example, is 3.69, and our APY is 4%. But some stakers, I think the average staking APY that they're getting is 40%, because of the fact that there is so much liquid in comparison to how much is actually staked, because the interest is determined by how much liquid there is. So if there's 90% liquid and people are only staking 10%, then you're getting 4% of 90% of the tokens, and that's giving you an APY that's more than 4% of that smaller 10%. It would be something like 12 or 13%. So this DAO is going to be available for stakers to vote for, and based off of your shares that you're holding, you can put up a vote, and if 50% of the stakers agree to increase this DAO wallet that cannot sell by a certain amount, then we can inflate the market cap of the token for for whatever reason that maybe we want it to look like it's a higher market cap token, so people take us more seriously. Maybe we need it to look a little bit smaller because the liquidity is looking too thin, or it could just be that they are interested in getting really high APY, but that's going to be up to our stakers. And thanks to the way it's set up, that the longer term stakers are the ones that will have the most shares. It's really the true believers in the project that are going to have the power to vote on this and to determine what it's going to be. So you really don't have to worry about anybody thinking short term who's going to dump on you, inflating the supply and voting on this to be something insane. And it's
Okay.
not going to activate until after the auctions are over.
Okay, that's quite interesting. And I guess if someone kind of like unstakes and stakes back again, then he will lose the bonus, right? Or is there like a cooldown period that the contract can read that
Well,
I,
so
mhm.
the bonus that you'd get for making a long-term stake would be, yes, in your shares, you're going to get more shares than someone who did a shorter term stake with the same amount of Atlas at the same time. But there would be no benefit to unstaking because the penalties are actually quite brutal for the first 50% of the stake length. So if you pledged for a 10-year stake to get all those shares and then you tried to pull out 1 year in, you'd only be getting 2% of your principal, because the first half of your stake is a linear penalty from 100% up down to 90%, and then after that, the second half, it's 90% down to 0%. So if you unstake a day before, at the end you barely take a penalty, but if you unstake like 75% of the way in, it's a 45% penalty, and if you unstake halfway through, it's a 90% penalty.
Nice. Looks like looks like the dev has done a lot of work when it comes to the contracts. No, there are a lot of stuff, a lot of complexity over there. I like
Yeah,
it.
we definitely we definitely want to encourage long-term staking above all else, and really reward those that do the long-term staking. So one of the most interesting mechanics that we've added to the auctions is if you pledge a long length on your stake, you actually will get a bonus of Atlas from the auctions. So everyone's going to be kind of clamoring and competing to get their hands on some of these tokens. And the more people that have this long-term mentality in the project, the more tokens that are just going to be locked up for 10 years, never sold. Well, not never sold. As far as crypto is concerned, that's forever. 10 years is a long
Yeah.
time. But we do have a solid investor base that believes in us, and I do know a few of them are going to be doing a lot of 10-year stakes. I know my first day participating in the auctions, I'm going to be pledging for 10 years on day one. That's my plan.
So okay, sounds good. But maybe let's break it down to some figures. Let's say if you stake 1,000 worth of tokens, right? What
Okay.
should kind of like what are the expectations on a daily or weekly or monthly basis?
Let me pull up the
Like your
white paper
returns,
here.
or if you have like the figures on top of your head or some, are they within the white paper?
Well, so first off, the shortest you can do for a stake is 30 days. That'd be
Mm-hmm.
the lower end of things, and I believe it's a 5x that you get from staking for 10 years. Oh yeah, and then there's also you get bonuses for being a larger staker as well. Here's the time bonus. Yeah, so if you stake for 10 years, it's going to be 1,000% bonus increase on your stake shares.
1,000%. Ooh, that's that's a nice paycheck over there. And
Oh yeah, for sure.
okay,
But the way the shares work basically is it just influences well your DAO voting, and it's going to influence your APY. So how many tokens you're getting out of the inflation is going to be much larger if you have a much longer stake period, because you're going to have more shares. But it doesn't really change your initial value. But as I said, it kind of, it would almost seem like your initial value is being increased because you're getting a better APY. And the more people that stake for longer periods of time, then the people who are short-term staking will be getting less of the APY. So it is kind of back and forth, because if somebody was to close one of those big stakes, then they would increase the APY for others that are not staking. But I have a feeling that what's going to happen when we really just start running is there's going to be a lot of people that just want to buy and sell the token and trade it, because they're just going to see the chart just going up and up and up. There's in addition to the buy pressure that's going to be coming from the auctions, we've also implemented a 9% burn on sells. So buy pressure is not going to turn into the same amount of sell pressure. So like no matter what, even if everyone who bought from the DEX on DEX public launch bought up and everyone sold all of their coins right back into the liquidity pool, not only would the liquidity have thickened up on the way up, so it would be propping up the price a lot more than how much it took to get up there in the first place. But there'd be 9% of those tokens that will never have been sold back into the pool. So the price is gonna be higher no matter what. And that's without even factoring in the buy pressure coming from the auctions.
a lot of things, a lot of stuff to digest, and a lot of numbers. I've read myself the white paper twice, to be honest, so I can get a better understanding. And for everyone else who is in here, again, please go through the white paper, which I have pinned in the main chat. It explains, like, it's very detailed. I have to give you that, guys. Really well written white paper. And I like the numbers, like the maths when it comes to the on the tokenomics side, and how is everything calculated.
Yes, yeah, no,
Um,
it's good to have the formulas displayed so people know exactly how everything
exactly,
works. Because I know some
exactly.
people
Being
will
transparent,
actually
because
use those formulas to calculate exactly what they're getting.
exactly, that's my point. Like, because you might put random numbers over there, but where does it come from? I know maybe not, like, out of 100 people, or 2 people might kind of like understand the formula, but even for those 2 people, it's enough if they get the kind of like the feeling around it. But yeah, please, everyone, make sure you check the white paper. Everything is in details over there. Cool. So when it comes to the taxes, you mentioned let's say, what will be the buy and sell tax, and kind of like what will be the distribution of the taxes, like where that will go to.
All right. Yeah, so the buy tax is 5% and the sell tax is 10%. And on sells, like I said, 9% is used just to burn, to mitigate the inflation. And that's one of the very interesting things about this, is if there's enough trading volume, the token could potentially be deflationary. In addition to the trading volume, the penalties from unstaking early will also create deflation, because those tokens are actually burned. It's a little different than with Hex. The penalties stay in the pool and are redistributed as interest to other stakers. But with our protocol, if somebody is taking a penalty, it's just burned. So the supply could potentially be going down as it gets more and more popular. And so, like I said, 9% for the burns to mitigate inflation, and 1% is for marketing and development, and that's on sells. And on the buys, 3.5%, which is 70% of 5%, is used to build the liquidity depth pool, and 1% is used to increase the depth of the original token Equinox, or the booster token Equinox. So that's actually going to turn into buy pressure for Equinox. So that's another reason why Equinox is a bullish buy right now, because the volume from this new launch, and we all know how new launch volumes are, is going to just start to buy up and add liquidity to the Equinox side of things as well. And not to mention the demand for the tokens as people want to use them for boosters.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and
When
then
it comes to, sorry to cut you, when it comes to Equinox, so people can know, maybe you can tell us, so it's live, and maybe at what mark, because you said that maybe, not financial advice, of course, but it's a good buy because of the Atlas launch. What's the market cap, and at what situation is the Equinox project?
okay,
At what?
yeah, sure,
A
I'll,
short
I'll
one,
get into
doesn't
that. I
have to
just wanted
be.
to say just the one last thing was that the last 0.5% of the buy fees is used for marketing and development. But other than that, we're all covered for the fees. As you can see, we took a very fair portion for marketing and development, and have mostly focused on using the funds to prop up the price and to keep the ecosystem alive and well. So with Equinox, what you'll see written here is that the market cap is 28K, but that's because the tokens that are staked are actually burned, and now those wallets are just holding shares to account for their initial. But we do have on the website here, it is listed the full supply, and our buy bot actually has the correct market cap for Equinox. So whenever a buy comes through, you'll get to double check that the market cap is at about, I think it's at 120K right now. So like I said, it's on the lower end of things, but that just leaves a lot of room for price appreciation.
All right, and it's like it's 1 year old, isn't it? Back in February 2022.
Yeah, it's actually so, and that was the relaunch, because there was an oversight on the economics of the first Equinox, which we called Nox, and there was a way to exploit the bonuses that were given to stakers by just staking and unstaking, and it ended up, as soon as it was discovered, within a couple days, the devs told the community, and worked, buckled down, put their noses to the ground, their fingers to the keyboard, and got a whole new contract set up and relaunched within, like, it was like 3 days or something like that. They did a cutoff point. They said, okay, snapshot right here. We're gonna launch over here and add new liquidity. And yeah, it was a successful relaunch, as you can see from the pump here. But obviously, with all the tokens that were coming from the auction, it's hard to keep this price up. Plus, the APY was insane during that first year. We were getting 1.75% daily interest during the first 3 months, and then it was like 1.2% daily interest over the next 3 months, and I think it was like a 0.7 something, 0.8 for the last 3 months, leading up to the harvest season, which was this last little dump here. And so with Equinox, it's actually designed that way for both the penalties and the APY to adjust with the seasons. So it in the early stages of a year, the APY is at its highest and the penalties are at its highest. So it just makes for really predictable price action. Harvest season, okay, is that the end of the harvest season dump? Okay, time to buy. I mean, that's an easy buy right there. Now, during those 3 months of harvest season, the APY was very small. I think for the full 3 months, you would only be getting like 1%. But hey, that's still better than what you get at your bank. And then
Oh
as soon as
yeah,
January,
and it makes sense. We know with that high percentage every day, like you have so many people. I don't know how many holders you might have and how many stakers back then, but yeah, it's kind of like a really high percentage to give back, and considering that like on a daily basis, it's huge. It's really hard in the end of the day to sustain something like that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But we have a very committed community, and our our whales are hodlers, that's for sure. And so yeah, you can only see the tokens that are liquid here, and the distribution looks a little off. But when you factor in the fact that most of it's staked, and the so realistically, this 9% would only be maybe 3% of the supply or something like that. It's not as scary as these kind of numbers. I know a lot of people wouldn't really like to see these, but I mean, these guys are hodling. Who knows? They might start to stake it. They might add liquidity. There's lots of options there for sure. But the bottom line is, when you're staked, if you're getting an Equinox stake, it's because you want the bonuses. You really are doing it for the staking bonuses that come with it, which I can outline right now for you.
It is scary. Back to what you were saying, seeing a holder holding 9%, 10% of the supply and kind of like the price impact that he can have on the chart. Yeah, it is indeed scary. And I appreciate you for bringing that up, though,
Yeah,
because
well, I mean, we're honest over here, and like I said, I know a lot. Like, there's a lot of tokens out there that they limit a wallet holder to 2% or whatever, and it makes sense when you launch at a very low market cap, and especially if all your tokens are in the LP pool, you have to do it that way. But we didn't launch that way. People were competing through the auctions, so it was fairly distributed that way. And then the price got to such a low price that some people who really believed in the project just snapped up that amount of tokens. I mean, that's the open market, right? We can't control that kind of thing. We don't want to control that kind of thing. We want people to invest as they see fit. And I personally trust anyone who's going to buy up this many tokens to not just be dumping them on us. But I mean, as a newcomer, I can understand how it might concern you, but we're here to stay. So I mean, if this person sells, somebody else will pick it up.
right on. So, back to Atlas now. I know that you touched a bit on the pool, but going through the white paper, etc., if you can maybe give a bit more of context when it comes to the pool and how you guys will sustain the pool if there is no volume, let's say, when it comes to the chart, and what are kind of like the different ideas that are circulating around it.
Well, I mean, the logic basically is around the fact that if the liquidity depth is small buys will moon the price, but small sells will crush it too. So we we're starting out small on the bottom end when there is going to be more buy pressure, and just picking it up and adding more to make it so that when those sells come in, it props up the price, and it creates a new floor so that we can take off for the next rally. And like I said, it the way we look at it, it doesn't make sense to add liquidity on the way down, because that will prevent us from getting back up there using the same amount of buy pressure. If there was a difference of $5,000 in sell pressure over buy pressure, and that's what's pushed us down to our local bottom and we're starting to reverse there, but we've been adding liquidity the whole time. Now it's going to take more than a $5,000 difference in the buy pressure to get us back up to all-time high. But the way we've set it up, it will take us exactly that amount of buy pressure and potentially less organic buy pressure if we've triggered a buyback or two while we were down there.
Right on, right on. Yeah, makes sense. Again, um, because I've been through myself, as I was saying earlier, through the white paper. Some of you might be confused. In case that you're confused, again, I have pinned the white paper. Please go through it, have a read. Everything is in details. I mean, literally in details. They have even the formulas, how they do the calculations, and yeah, cool. And we touched in regards of the DAO auction. Cool, cool.
Well,
And
actually, I just want to go back to Equinox real quickly there because
absolutely.
we actually have a tweet thread here um, that is really interesting. I'll get low key to drop it there. But so Equinox has been in a clear uptrend since October, as you can see, and that's because of the seasonal launch. And thanks to the share system of Equinox, that it was paying out 0.49% last month, but it has just switched to 0.23% daily. And penalties are still up at 50%, so you don't have to worry about anyone unstaking and selling on you anytime soon. It's gonna be a while before those penalties come to the kind of spot where people are gonna want to sell. And the Equinox stakes provide utility for the ecosystem in three ways. So for every 0.1% of your total Equinox shares held, or well, for every 0.1% of the total that you happen to be holding, you're going to get a 3% bonus in shares when staking Atlas. You're going to get a 10% bonus in bidding power when you're participating in the Atlas auctions, and you're going to get a 5% discount on Atlas trading taxes. So the trading taxes discount maxes out at 100% if you own 2% of the Equinox supply, stakes shares supply, and the auctions bonus maxes out at 1%, at a 1% share value. So if you own 1%, you'll get 100% bonus power when bidding for Atlas auctions. But the Atlas staking bonus is actually not capped. So if for example you happen to be a whale and you were holding 5% of tokens of the share price, you would actually get to benefit as much as 150% on your shares when you go to stake. So it adds quite a bit of value to the Equinox tokens, which is what the devs really wanted to do. They appreciate all the support that the community has given them. We all do. And yeah, rather than just make a new token that's in no way associated with Equinox, we've built Atlas on top of Equinox with all the benefits to keep the price going up. Not to mention the fact that there will be buy pressure and liquidity added through the trading taxes.
Nice, cool stuff. And something that I've seen when it comes to passive income, let's say, tokens and type of token and projects. Do you plan to have any NFTs and act like as a booster for higher APYs?
As of right now, there's no plan for it. I believe if we did, it would be as a design to create a burn function for Equinox, because we are actually discussing some different ways where we can add even more value to Equinox through potential burns. We got the idea from the way that the Zen ecosystem does things, and Zen's value is basically created through its burns for other tokens in the ecosystem. So we're definitely thinking about NFTs, but they're more likely to be some kind of some kind of utility NFT in a way or another. But it's still up in the air, and as of right now, nothing is confirmed. But it's not likely that we're gonna do like just an NFT collection, like a profile picture collection or anything like that. But it all depends on the direction the community wants to go, because it is a community run token. We want everyone to be happy with what they're holding and to be happy with the progress. So if that's what people want to see us doing, then it will be something that we will consider putting on our plate.
Yeah. Again, it seems like works for some of the projects has worked good, like because they are getting it's revenue at the same time, and so they can distribute back some of the rewards and have more funds to sustain in case there is no much volume on the charts, or even like some of them do investments in other projects. These are not going that well, so kind of like keep it going and keep the project alive. But yeah, sounds good to me. Was about to ask something, but I literally forgot. Oh yeah, in regards of the Atlas token, will there be a max holding per wallet?
No, there won't be any max holdings per wallet, but we are going to implement a max transaction amount during the initial stages of the public DEX in order to mitigate some of the potential for someone to snipe it and then just be dumping for a couple days or hours. We're gonna have max transaction and also potentially a whitelisting period where only those who participated in the first 2 days of auctions will be able to buy during the whitelisting period, and they'll only be able to buy up to a certain amount based off how much they participated in the auction period during the first 2 days.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, especially during the launch, etc. You kind of like want to avoid having snipers and people can ruin your launch, right? Because it creates FUD, and it can literally ruin the project. Cool. All right. So anything kind of like from your side that you want to touch, kind of, and we didn't touch, and it's worth mentioning?
I mean, I think I did really have the chance to say pretty much everything that I needed to. There's nothing I can really think of. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I really do think we didn't talk about the dividends enough. I did mention the dividends, but and actually just in general, the auctions funds, we didn't talk about exactly how those work.
Actually, that's
So
what I was looking right now. I'm looking at the dividends table. I'm like, we didn't talk about it.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, let's go. Like I'll show you the dividends table here. So yes, like I was mentioning, um, in this example, we're talking about $100,000, let's say, went in on each day's auction. So from that $100,000, oh wait, sorry, I think we're saying okay, $100,000 ended up as the 40% from the auction. Let's say it was $250,000, so $100,000 ready for the dividends. So it will get paid out on the beginning of auction day 3, because after auction day 1, you need to claim your tokens and stake them, and then at the beginning of day 3, hopefully you remember to claim and stake them, you will be able to get your portion of that $100,000. And then the following day will be the first half of what came from the second day's auction. So that's why you see $50,000 here. And then the third day's auction is split into three and layered on top of the second half of the second day's auction. So as you can see, they start to layer more and more. So the amounts are kind of creeping down a little bit, but it's possible that we're not going to hit $100,000 mark on the first day, and we're going to start hitting those kind of levels later on and sustaining them later on. So it's possible that this could be going either way, but in general, the dividends are just to encourage people to stay staked, and even to encourage people who are buying from the liquidity pool to stake in the first place. So a lot of these tokens are going to be out of circulation during the first 90 days, and the payouts are going to continue for the following 90 days as well from dividends, and they will definitely be tapering off at that point because there will be less and less of them each day layered on top of each other.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I really like it. Again, white paper guys, you've nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, kudos to the devs on the website in general too. It's very sleek, simple. They're not really, it's not too in your face or too wordy just for the landing page here. And yeah, it's beautiful. I know a lot of people, they invest based off the website. I mean, it's not the best strategy, but it's really good when you have a website that entices people to get involved. And yes, the white paper it's very detailed, and certainly has all the information you need, and even examples like the table that you just saw there, or some of these formulas that I'm sure many people will even be plugging into their Excel sheets and doing their calculations to estimate their returns. It's really great to see this kind of stuff.
Right on. So, if you don't mind, if you can do kind of like a recap, and what will if you can point like one, two things like what investors will be benefited of joining you guys.
Well, I mean, you're definitely benefiting from the fact that the LP is burned, so you don't have to worry about about rugs or anything like that. We've had some discussion of trying to get an audit at some point potentially to set people's minds at ease, but I mean, you see that we've been working on Equinox for a long time, and the community that we have really trusts us. So hopefully you can trust that there will be absolutely no funny business, and that everything has been thoroughly tested. And yeah, it's really awesome to know that the the inflation rate could possibly be a deflation rate based off of how much trading we get done, and and based off of how many investors unstake early. And because I mean, if the price goes up 100x, or I should say when it does, some people will be willing to unstake at the halfway point and take a 90% penalty just to take profits on the other 10%, because they'll still get a 10x depending on where their entry was. So
Yeah.
I really do think the possibility of it being deflationary is it's highly likely, and it's quite amazing to have a certificate of deposit token like this become deflationary. But we'll have to wait and see. The market will decide. The open market.
Awesome, awesome. And if you could please remind us, for those who might have joined late, etc., the dates, what kind of like the dates for the token launch, and what will be the process over there if someone wants to join you?
All right, yeah. So the auction is launching on April 9th. I believe we're setting it to 4 o'clock p.m. UTC, and the DEX trading will go live on auction day 3, which is going to be April 11th, and we're more likely going to leave it to a couple hours in to the auction day. We haven't set an exact time for that just yet. We might try and get some community feedback for the best time for something like that, because I mean, people are global all over, so we want to make sure as many people can attend as possible. And we don't want too many people to have to be staying up too late or getting up at 3 a.m. or whatever. But unfortunately, we can't make everybody happy, so we're gonna have to decide on a time and make as many people happy as we can for that launch date. But the auctions launch, it's not really an issue because you have 22 hours to participate. There's no reason to rush and to FOMO in the first moments of it. There's no benefit to that. So
Right on, right on. Thank you. Thank you so much, Elite. And scrolling through the voice chat members, I can see we have some members that are fan of this type of projects. So make sure I have pinned the white paper if you joined late, or if you got confused with all these numbers and how things work with the pools, with the boosters, and all that stuff. Everything is in details over there. I see Salius has his hand up. Let's unmute him. Go for it, Salius.
Hey, what's up?
All good,
Hey.
bro. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. So I'm just wondering a little bit because Atlas helps Equinox a lot, right? Like there's all these different kind of things that that Equinox gains from holders, stakers, and all these things when it comes to Atlas. But I want to know, how does Equinox help Atlas? Because I think if you're trying to attract new people, you want to make sure that there's something in it for them buying Atlas rather than buying Equinox. So is there anything?
Well, I mean, there isn't necessarily anything directly uh, supporting Atlas to do with Equinox, but the one of the benefits of these boosts that our Equinox holders are getting is, and that new investors can be confident in, is to know that our investors that are still here from a year ago in Equinox, or who bought the bottom, uh, they clearly really believe in what the team's capable of. They clearly believe in the project, and they will be hodling their bags, doing long stakes. So you don't have to worry that these benefits are going to be misused, and these participants are just going to be dumping on you, because it's much more likely that our long-term Equinox investors who are holding these Equinox shares and getting these benefits are going to be using these benefits to make longer term stakes. And obviously everyone needs to and should take some profit here and there, but they're just going to be shaving off profit, not dumping their full bags. So yeah, there is a benefit in having your OGs hold the floor and really help support the Atlas chart, knowing that they have those benefits, and knowing that the devs have created a token that adds utility to the first token that they bought and trusted the dev with their money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, I see. Although, I mean, there is a little something that Equinox actually helps with when it comes to Atlas holders. Well, not the holders, I guess traders. Because if you do hold enough Equinox shares, at least it's stated on the website, that you get tax reduction, right?
Yes, yeah,
On
for
Atlas.
sure. Yeah, but I think you were asking more for the other way around, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
Atlas or how yeah.
yeah, I wanted.
I don't know.
Well, this is kind of what it does because well, Equinox helps Atlas this way, right? Well, at least Atlas traders. So if
Yeah.
you plan on maybe swing trading Atlas, you might as well get some Equinox. So of course, this obviously helps Equinox, but Equinox also helps those traders. So there is a little something that Equinox can help you with when it comes to
Yeah,
Atlas.
for sure. Well, yeah, no, definitely the creation of Atlas has added a lot of utility to Equinox, and yeah, it does go both ways for sure. But it is more so that Atlas is adding this liquidity to Equinox, and Equinox holders are getting the benefits, and Atlas is bringing in more buy pressure for Equinox, but Equinox not necessarily bringing in buy pressure for Atlas. But at the same time, our whales are going to be able to trade the token for free. So, get the volume up and those kind of things, and support the price. So yeah, I mean, the ecosystem is still young, and one of the things I didn't mention yet is that Equinox stakeholders are actually going to be getting airdropped on Pulse Chain. So that's another reason that you should get yourself on Equinox stake, because we are probably going to do this whole thing over there on Pulse Chain when we have the opportunity. But we're definitely going to give fork over those stakes and probably create a small liquidity pool to start with over on Pulse Chain whenever it launches, and then we'll get ready to do an auction phase for some more tokens, Equinox tokens over there, and then ultimately we are going to more likely than not launch Atlas over there. It's still not officially announced, but you are going to be getting Equinox stakes over there airdropped. Atlas stakes are not going to be airdropped though.
All right, thank you. That's
All right.
it from me for now.
Thank you, bro. Good points. Good points. And again, it's good to bring all these on the surface and for the team to answer. Right on. We have Yellow Leap. Go for it, bro.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
bro.
Okay, just to clarify something, I've been listening to what you guys have been saying, and I went into the website, and like the structure of a like an investor is really strong because some investor like lose interest on a project easily, like they fall for the project, like they leave the project more easily in the sense of the project owner or the team in the project are not fast in making in some solution in the problem. What I'm trying to ask is, you have basically not everybody in the space will like what you guys have been doing in the project. Not everybody like you guys moving forward. You have some people who will be jealous of your project, who will want to bring out some problem or who will want to fight in the project to be bad. You face more problem in those people bringing out some problem into the project. Some people want to bring out some issues that will make the investors lose interest on the project. So what I'm just trying to ask is, if you guys have a problem, like how fast will you guys make it solve the problem, like in the face of, let's say for example, someone putting in buy bot in the buy competition. When someone put in a buy bot in the buy, you have more people who is jealous of the project, who want to make the project down, and they will be bringing out some forces which is negative to the project. And what I'm just trying to ask is, how will you guys solve the problem more easily to make the investors strong and to believe in what you guys have been doing? Yeah, that's what I want to ask.
Well, I mean, we're always honest with our community and upfront, and we don't have anything to hide. Yes, obviously, some people just they get jealous or they just like to watch the world burn, so they might come in and start FUD for no reason or because they actually have some concerns. But we will, address the concerns by answering any questions and explaining our rationale for the direction we went with some particular part of the project, or why we're not docs, or whatever the questions might be. We'll answer them as soon as these questions pop up. And I don't know if you heard earlier when I was talking about Equinox and how it originally launched on January 1st as Nox, and there was an economical exploit that was found, and the devs noticed that somebody was using it to start to siphon the money slowly out of the pool, and they immediately addressed it, and they immediately forked and launched a new project within a week. I mean, you guys might have heard of the project Rex. It took them like 7-8 months to launch it, but that's probably just because they wanted to spend all that time to hype it up and to really recreate it so that they could, just rinse and repeat and get everyone's money back into that one. Whereas the approach here with our team was, the investors invested with us. We want them to have access to those funds immediately. We want to solve the problem before anyone takes any heavy losses. And they did it all very well. And on that relaunch, the valuation of the airdrop was well. I think it was above the all-time high within moments there, within those first couple days. Oh yeah, this is that first week, that run up there, it made the value of my stakes higher than they were in the V1. So yeah, we, the devs are very good at quick problem solving when it comes to the codes, and if there's any kind of problems to that respect, it will be solved quickly. But it's been very extensively tested this time around, so there won't be any of those issues. And as for FUD, I mean, you deal with it, but in a lot of ways, any publicity is good publicity. So if people are running around, sharing, saying, "Oh, don't invest in this." Well, maybe someone has never heard of it yet, and now they've heard of it. I mean, it's it's not the best way to hear about it, but they still heard about it. So it's all about how you look at these things, and I know our investor base isn't going to get shaken out of our positions because we've been here since Equinox. Some of the newer investors may lose interest or lose conviction, but we're going to have a solid base of the real Equinox investors, and they're not going to be dumping because somebody comes in to try and fund. We all know Edwin and Kakashi really well over the past year and a half or year and a quarter that we've been getting to know them, and we know how honest and hardworking and just all around great they are at what they're doing. So yeah, I mean, there's ups and downs in charts, and a FUD dip sometimes just creates an opportunity for some more convicted, some investors with more conviction to step in and grab bags and really hold the floor and send it.
In
Yeah,
the end of the day, it's
basically, um,
yeah. Go ahead, Yellow.
yeah, yeah. Why I'm asking this question is basically like I won't call names. Like I went to a project last year, and basically the project really do good, and I put in my funds, and the project was moving really high, and the source of the project were not like communicating with the community members. It was not like open to the community members. It was not open to the investors. You know, most investors will come into the group and they will like bring out the suggestion, bring out that question of what the project is being facing. And the project will now we just like ban the person or report the person from the community. And that really lose it, like it lose my interest out of the project. But like that point, I still believe maybe the project will be moving forward. I still hold my funds, but in the later on, the projects die on in the funds of not the project owner not open into the community members. That's why I'm asking the question, because when you like create a time for your community members, create a time for your investors, make them open, collect suggestion, collect question, they will feel that okay, this project is not just it's not just the owner project, it's for everyone, because when you have a community in a project, a solid community, the project will be moving forward day by day, because not the owner of the project is gonna invest all the funds into the project. Community members are there to put in the funds. You open to all your community members, you bringing out the suggestion, you taking in the question, you getting them more after more, it will give them more down to come into the project, to make them to feel, wow, this is a fantastic project, not just based on their own solution, they're open to taking our own suggestion, it will give them more confidence, solid, because you give them more confidence to the project. That would be interesting. And I love the way you say you guys are open to your community and you guys will be taking in suggestion. Basically that would be interesting, because when you take in some suggestion, it will make you to know where you guys are lacking behind, to make you to know what you guys will be adding into your marketing plans. And it will also be great. And thank you for the answers. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Oh, that
no,
was
it was a good question.
that was a good one. But yeah, you remind me. Don't take it in a bad way, but you remind me what a friend was telling me. Not a friend, a teacher that I had when I was like young. Is like there are two ways. There is short way to say something. There is the other one which it will take way longer. But yeah, good point, bro. Always community, and how fast the team is into reacting on certain problems, concerns, etc. Kind of like proves their experience, because it's all about experience, right? How easy can the team handle certain situations? Thank you, Yellow. Cool. All right. So I think we are pretty good, guys. If you have any other questions, please make. Oh, Jerry. Actually, I unmute you. Jerry, go for
You
it.
unmuted me, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
So, good stuff, guys. Been here for a while now, and I must tell you, I think pretty good stuff. So, my question is concerning the DAO system, which you guys saw on the website that you've got a DAO system which allows stakers to vote on important aspects of the tokenomics, such as the inflation.
I think we lost him.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh,
I was saying,
you muted yourself for a second.
I was saying, based on this voting system, the privileges given to the shareholders, uh, does their limitations on these privileges depend on how much of the tokens, how much of the shares they hold, or for the longest time they've hold the shares?
So yeah, your voting strength is going to be based off of the shares you hold. So yeah, people with the longer stakes are going to have a much higher share count, even if their principal stake was smaller, because as we saw earlier, you get 10 times as many shares if you stake for 10 years, for example. So yeah, it's more the people who are looking at the project more long term are going to have higher votes, as well as the people who invested more funds and more tokens into their shares, into their stakes. So yes, obviously it's got its ups and its downs there. But the bottom line is that the longer term investors will be the ones controlling that kind of thing. So you don't really have to worry about anyone trying to manipulate in a malicious way that's going to destroy the chart. If anything, the manipulation will be in the opposite direction, to send the chart higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, I think pretty good stuff. But I also had something else in mind. I don't know if would be possible shooting this one in.
What was that?
I said I had a second question in mind, but I don't know if it's possible asking
Yeah,
this
go
one.
for it. We can take one last question before we wrap it up. Go for it, bro.
Okay, great. So in terms of you guys' utilities and you the community members, the hype of the project, when it comes to your community members, I don't know if you guys have had a plan in the future, in the coming future, to increase the community members and increase.
You muted yourself or you cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
hear you.
come on, Jerry. Let's keep it nice and short, bro.
So
Straight. What is the question?
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, do you guys have plans to increase the community members, and in terms in instance increasing the hype of the project, since these projects have got a whole lot of hype around it and a whole lot of utilities.
It's
So do you guys
not
Yeah.
have
about.
plans?
It's not that much of a hype. I'm not sure if you joined the AMA before. I mean, if you're since the beginning of the AMA, but it's not that much of a hype. I could say here. It's like you stake your token for 10 years. It's one of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
So
pools
and
over
that
there.
but the hype will come
What?
from the chart. Basically,
Yeah. What
thanks
I'm
to
actually trying to say is, when you have more people involved in the staking system, it creates more hypes. It creates more awareness to others who are not into the project. So it brings in more people when you have more community members, and it makes the project more hyped. So I just wanted to know if you guys have plans to increase, to extend the community participation and to getting more investors into the community. This was the actual question.
yes, well we've got another AMA lined up tomorrow, and we're looking to schedule one for Monday as well. So we're gonna keep doing AMAs and different types of marketing. But once the DEX launch starts and the chart just starts taking off, the best type of uh, the best type of marketing I find is well, obviously an uptrending chart, and but organic marketing. I mean, you could throw money all over the place, and that's not necessarily going to do anything if the people who are advertising and marketing your product don't actually believe in it. They don't have any conviction in it, and they don't have any passion about it. But luckily, I've got a lot of passion, and our community's got a lot of passion. And as it grows and the chart goes up, people will really feel passionate about this project and feel like the uptrending chart will never stop. And for that first 90 days, it's pretty safe to say that the chart's just going to be going up. I mean, people are going to be participating, dollar cost averaging into the auctions daily, and that's going to turn into buy pressure. That's never going to, well, that's not going to become sell pressure until people are closing their stakes at the end of the auctions. And depending on how long term the majority of the people are who are putting funds into the auctions, a lot of those tokens are going to be locked up for a long time. So it's gonna run, and the market cap is gonna look it's gonna be growing no matter what as well, because the auctions are actually minting those tokens. Well, I guess they would be minting them straight to the stakes, so you wouldn't necessarily notice that. But the the market cap's going to look actually smaller than what it actually is, and that could help with the hype potentially, as opposed to people being afraid that they're getting in late, looking at it like, oh, it's 300 mil market cap, but it's realistically they're only going to see um, a smaller figure there because they're only going to see what's liquid. But I'm very confident that with the burns on sells and all that buy pressure coming from the auctions, the chart is going to be going up, and we have a beautiful base for this, a beautiful starting point of investors, more than what we need. And that's kind of one of the best things. You get these overhyped launches and they just pump at launch and you can never sustain it, and then it's just a sell-off. But we have like the perfect size community to have a sustained pump and then keep bringing in new people as people are like, oh wow, have you seen this one? It already did this. Oh, well, I won't buy it now. It already did that, and then it does another 3x, 4x. Okay, I'll FOMO in now. So we really have no doubt in our mind that people will want to tell their friends and will want to bring in new people to the community, and they'll reach out to us. We'll get calls for the culture, and we'll be doing AMAs with different groups that want to host us, maybe free of charge in some cases.
Awesome, cool stuff. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Elite. So back to you, bro. If you could kind of like give us a call, a closing statement on first place and the call to action for everyone who is listening on this AMA, and we'll listen later on to the recording of it.
All right. Well, yeah, just make sure you set your calendars and you get ready for April 9th, the auction launch day, and do your homework and really figure out your strategy. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. There's nothing like this out there in the space. There's so many mechanics in here, especially the liquidity depth management, that are just brand new. No one else has done it, and the potential is there. So you guys are on the ground floor, ready to get in there. So just make sure that you feel comfortable. Make sure you're convicted as much as I am with where this is going, and yeah, just mark it on your calendars and get ready, because we're taking off with or without you guys. Take a look at the Equinox chart too. Don't be afraid to get yourself a stake there, because once the trading starts, there's going to be automatic buy pressure on that chart, and who knows, it might start hitting a trending, and people might just start FOMOing in when they don't even know what's going on with the token. But just seeing these small buys constantly over there, just making them want to get in there, and yeah, creating the stake makes sense to get the APY right now. 0.223% is nothing to scoff at for a daily interest, and the benefits are there. So yeah.
Tom, thank you so much, Elite. Great AMA. I think that there we could easily go for an hour for sure, for another hour for sure. Quite a lot of stuff to digest. I know most of our community already are in the Atlas Telegram, but if you are new, if you have just joined Ninja Lounge and you are not part of Atlas, make sure you join. Have a look into the website white paper. Again, has so many details. It's everything written. Everything is well written over there. And yeah, that's I could say start straight away with white paper. Any questions, any extra questions, any further questions, make sure you join their Telegram. Ask questions over there. The team is really helpful. And you see Elite here, he can keep talking and talking and talking. So the same thing will do over there. Don't hesitate. And yeah, Atlas AMA, make sure you join them. Elite, thank you so much. It was a good one,
Thanks
bro.
for having me. Yep.
All right, I'm going to end the recording. Thanks, everyone, for joining.